Okay. We've done this method before, but for those of you that haven't seen it, we're going to be sending out the video to a bunch of people that are on live tonight. For those of you that have not seen this, you can do this method with 10-inch mesh. You can do it with the Dollar Tree mesh, which is 6 inches. You can do it with the Hobby Lobby 5.5-inch mesh. You can even do it with the 4-inch deco mesh ribbon. And we also did the fall wreath, you guys remember, with that long extra wide ribbon. You can do the pull through with that. The only thing you really can't do the pull through with, and you can do it with burlap. So if you have rolls of burlap, the only thing you really can't do the pull through with is 21-inch mesh. It's just too long, unless you cut it in half, but then you're going to have all the frays. So this is actually a good method for somebody who's just starting out making wreaths. You don't have to worry about cutting. You don't need any pipe cleaners. You don't need any zip ties. I used to, I know Pam, you posted, I used to put a zip tie on when I was first starting, but then I ended up just taking it off anyway when I came around the wreath. So I don't even bother with the zip tie, because once you get everything on there, it kind of all holds itself together. This is a very basic wreath, and what I mean by that is it's difficult to attach ribbon streamers to a wreath like this, because you'll see as we start, you're actually wrapping your mesh around these two inside bars. You're going to go once around. You can start on the inside if you want, but I usually start on the outside. You're pulling it up around this bar. You're going to go all the way around, and then you're going to pull it up around this bar. So since you're actually pulling the mesh up around the bar, it's kind of hard to, you probably can make a ribbon bundle and stick it in there and attach it, but it's hard to do. You don't have any gaps in there to put a pipe cleaner in to attach your ribbon streamer. So this type of wreath is really more for like a nice sign or a centerpiece. You can add some embellishments. I know, Pammy, you said you were going to make a Valentine's wreath, or you were. Maybe put little hearts or flowers. This is some pretty snowball mesh that I got. I was going to use an Easter sign, but then I found this sign that I got last year when I was looking through my spring and summer stuff. And I've just been dying to use this sign. I love this sign. So I think this will look cute because it's got pink. That's really all I'm going to do tonight. We have a lot of other Easter wreaths scheduled. So I think I'm going to put this sign with this mesh, and then I may just finish it later on if I find some cute little, like maybe ice cream cone embellishments or something like that. And I'll make it like a little summer ice cream wreath. So, but you can do whatever you want. Whatever color mesh you use, it's a very basic wreath. So I'm done talking now. Let's start doing this. So this is 10. Go ahead.
I got a real pretty, Craft Outlet had a new one. It's like a coral.
Ooh.
It's really pretty. Call it, it's iridescent. Iridescent pastel coral with white. And I just fell in love with it.
Can you hold it up so I can see it?
Well, hold on one second.
How come you like in a circle? I don't get that.
I don't know. God knows.
Hi, Connie, with the headphones.
I don't know if you could see it. I'll have to take a picture of it and send it. But it's one of their new ones. And then I thought, I think I'll be ahead and do some spring, and then maybe take it to Michael's with me, because all their florals on sale, and get some roses or something springy.
Yeah.
Instead of a sign.
Definitely, yes. This type of wreath is good. Yeah. Like a nice sign or a centerpiece, and then maybe get some florals.
Yep.
Glue them in. It's just, or you can do a bow for sure.
Yeah.
You can do a bow, but this is hi, Lila. Lila just signed up for the Unlimited today.
Hi, Lila.
This is your first class, I think, right? Lila, can you hear me?
Just a minute. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Can you see and hear me okay?
Just a minute.
Okay, just a minute, she says.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. somebody here knows how, if you want me to be big on your screen, Lila. If I'm not big, do you guys know how to make me big on your screen? What do
I
you
don't know. Why don't you call BJ?
Do you hit the 3 dots in the corner or something like that? Is that what you do? I don't know.
I'll just do that.
Okay.
Lila, what I'm going to do, Lila, are you on an iPad or your phone, or how are you watching me? I don't know if she can hear me. Lila?
Sorry, I had a phone call I had to get.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to let you know that normally what I do is I mute everybody at the beginning of a class to kind of cut down on background noise. That way, if you have to take a phone call, you have a TV on or whatever. Because what happens with Zoom is when I'm talking, the camera will stay on me. But it defaults to something called speaker view, and it's kind of a pain. But what that means is if someone else is speaking, it'll go to their camera, and if they don't have their camera on, it'll just show a black screen, and it can be a little bit distracting. But I don't want that to discourage you from talking. So if
no, I'm fine now.
Okay, if you do have a question though, are you on a laptop or how are you viewing?
On an iPad.
iPad. So all you have to do to unmute yourself is just tap your screen, and then the controls should come up. I don't have an iPad, but that's what I was told. And you'll be able to unmute yourself if you have a question.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay.
Yep, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody to kind of cut down on background noise. But I don't, if you have a question at all, just unmute yourself so you can ask.
Okay.
That's
okay. I'll see if I can do that.
Okay. That way we can have TVs on but I get a little lonely talking by myself, so sometimes I may just unmute you so you guys can talk, because I run out of things to say. All right. So take your 10-inch roll. Don't worry about the frays on the edge, because those are going to be hidden. You're going to want to lay it under your wreath form. Now, this is a wreath form that I got from the Dollar Tree. So it's 14 1/4 inches. If you get it from another craft store, don't get any bigger than 16. I would say maybe get a 15-inch. I think that's the kind they normally sell at the craft shops. But I just buy my wreath forms by the case because I go through so many of them. So I always have the Dollar Tree forms. So you're just going to lay your 10-inch mesh just underneath. And we're going to start, like I said, with these 2 bars here. Now you see how my fingers are kind of going up around the bar? Pretend that's your mesh. That's what you're going to want to do with your mesh, okay? And it may be a little weird at first, but once you get the hang of it, so you have it underneath, you're going to pull. Let me try to get it so you can, I should have just pushed my camera down a little closer here. But you can see how, this is how we're going to start. You're pulling it right up around that bar. You can see I'm going around the bar here. You can see that. I should have put my camera down a little bit closer. Okay. So all we're doing is just pulling it up around that second bar, okay? Make sure that it's even on both sides. So there's my bar in the middle. You can see my bar in the middle there. And then I'm pulling up my mesh around it. This is, if you go to YouTube, you can even, most people do this with burlap too, but you can do it with mesh. So as you're pulling it up around that bar, you're going to pull up with one hand and squish it over with the other hand. Now hold on a second here. Maybe I'll move my camera down a little bit closer. Is my camera too far away, you guys? I feel like it might be too far away for you to see what I'm doing. Because with this method, you kind of got to be close up to see it. I'm going to stand because I'm a stander when I do my wreaths. I can't sit. Okay. So your bar is right here. Okay, that's the second bar, and your mesh is going around it. You're just pulling it up right around that bar, and you're going to ruffle it as you go along. You may even just want to let your mesh just fall off there so it's not in your way. Now again, it's important that you make sure that you have equal amounts of mesh on both sides. Now it's going to look a little weird when you're first starting. And it's going to be like, what the heck is going on here? Am I doing this right? You're doing it right. As long as you have equal amounts of mesh on both sides, don't worry about how it looks all weird on the end here, because when you come around the other side, it's all going to squish together. Actually, when it really starts to come together is when you do your second row. So just keep, I'm going to pull this over here because this is not working over here. And if anybody's confused, then stop me. But as you're pulling it up with one hand, you're ruffling it over with the other hand. And I'm going to just finish. I can't even tell you how many times you pull it through. You just kind of have to eyeball it. But the nice thing about that is if you come around and you go around all the way around this second bar and you come all the way around, if you find that you might have too much in one section and not enough in another section, you can kind of move it around. And don't be too focused on having it look perfect right away, because when you're done and you have all your mesh on, then you can go around. I just want to show you. I still have the one that I made in the picture. I just want to show you. Hold on a second. I never even did anything else with this one that I made last year. I put a little bunny head on it. But this is how it's going to look when it's done. I just love this mesh. I got this mesh at Joann's on clearance last year. But that's how it's going to look when you're done. When you get all your mesh on and you kind of play with it and ruffle it up. I just stuck a little bunny head. That's all I did with this wreath. And it's just been sitting in my other room. That's how it's going to look when it's done. So it's going to be nice and full. So don't be discouraged and think, it's not coming out right. Just take your time, because it looks kind of weird right now. It doesn't really look much like anything. Try not to let it fold over on itself, though. You really kind of want it to be ruffly and not folded, if that makes sense. But I don't want my heater on. I'm already warm as it is. There. Okay. So just kind of, you don't want it to be too tight. You just kind of have to eyeball it and think, kind of look at it. I think that's enough for one section. Now, if I come around and I feel like I need a little bit more, I can push it over and add a little bit more. And when we get to the crossbar right here, you're just going to kind of jump over it, or under it rather, and just keep doing the same thing. You're just pulling your mesh up around that bar. I'm like fighting with this mesh. I'm not happy with where it is. Let's put it back over here. So again, we're going up around this second bar here. Again, pretend my fingers are the mesh. You're just going up around it with your mesh, and make sure that you've got equal amounts pulled around. So pull up through with one hand and squish or ruffle it over with the other hand. That's it. Susan, how you doing? You went and got 10-inch mesh, right, Susan? I know you said you thought it was 21-inch mesh. But I think you must have some 20 or 10-inch mesh, because you have all half that lit in your house.
I've got 10-inch mesh, and
Okay.
it's going great.
Okay, good. This is an easy method. It may seem a little weird at first, and you're going to be like, oh, why isn't this looking right? It will look fine when you get done, trust me. Especially, like I said, when you get the second row, because once we go around this first row and this second bar here, we're going to go back around again on the second bar from the inside, or this one. So these are the 2 bars that we're pulling around. And then when you go around again on the inside, that's when it really starts to come together. So no cutting, no mess, no fraying. And it really doesn't take that long either. And again, don't be too concerned about making it look perfect until you're done. It doesn't even really have to be perfect. I'm just trying to see how much I have in each section. And you just kind of eyeball it, you know. Uh-oh, did it fall on the floor? I'm going to do move my sign. Did you guys see my post the other day of the mesh I got at Joann's? I just love this mesh. I think this is fabric mesh. I love that lilac, that lavender color.
I saw it and I was so jealous.
And it's not on their website. Do you not have a Joann's near you, Susan?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, but it was sold out.
Oh, no. They had like a whole bunch when I was there. They had a lot. So I had a gift card actually from Christmas that I hadn't used yet. And it was a Visa gift card that my daughter had given me when she was visiting from Colorado. And my daughter's like, Mom, why don't you, my other daughter's like, Mom, why don't you treat me to lunch? I'm like, no, I'm going to use this at Joann's. That's the first thing she wanted me to do was treat her to lunch. I'm like, it's my gift card. But you can see how this section might need a little bit more. So when I come around, I might add a little bit more to this first section, but the second one looks really nice. So I'm going to skip over now. If you're satisfied with how it looks, skip over another crossbar to the next one. Now again, if you come around and you think, wait a minute, there's too much in this section, there isn't enough in that one, and that doesn't look right, you can just kind of like borrow it, you know, just move it around a little bit. But as you get going, you can see how I use one hand to pull it up around and the other hand to squish it over. Squish or scrunch or whatever term you want to use.
Hi, this is Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. Did you have a question?
Are we doing this like we did the reindeer?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
This is just a pull through, but we're using 10-inch mesh.
Okay.
Same exact thing. You can use mesh, you can use burlap. The only thing you really can't use is 21-inch mesh. It's just too wide. It won't look right. This is pretty much the widest you can use is 10-inch. You kind of don't want it to fold over on itself. That's what I mean by that is that's why it's important you're scrunching it over as you're pulling it through, because it doesn't look right when it's folded over on itself, like this is trying to do here. What I mean by that, you see how this, if you can really tell, it's such a light pink. I got a piece here that's like folded, so I'm just going to try to pull that out a little bit. You want it to be ruffled, not folded, if that makes sense. I think that's the first time I ever saw this method was with burlap, which is how we did the reindeer Teresa. So there, once you're happy with how much you have in that section, you might want to go underneath, because sometimes as you're going up around that crossbar, it can kind of puff out a little bit. You see how that's puffed out? You just want to go in and kind of push that down, or push it in. As you're going over the crossbar, it likes to puff up underneath. You can just kind of push that in a little bit. And again, when you're all done, you have everything all in, and you can kind of go around and adjust your ruffles. But it's important that you have equal amounts on both sides, because then it'll look weird if you don't. On both sides of your bar. There. It only took a second to fix that. I just love this snowball mesh. Remember, we're going to be going around the inside again too, but it's already looking nice just with that second bar, but we're going around the inside again too. So we're halfway through. And I've done this method with, like I said, the 4-inch ribbon too. You can get 4-inch deco mesh ribbon from Craft Outlet, and I think some other stores have it too. And let me think for a second here. Burlap, it looks really nice with burlap. I was going to say something else. I can't remember what I was going to say now. Like I said, the only thing that is not good about this method, and I'm going to see if I can't try to figure it out. There's got to be an easier way to attach ribbon streamers. But like I said, because you have, normally when you're attaching ribbon streamers to a wreath, you already have your pipe cleaners on there. So you're doing a ruffle wreath. You have your pipe cleaners on there. You're ruffling up your mesh. You're attaching it. But you still have your pipe cleaner sticking up for you to attach your ribbon to. You don't have any pipe cleaners here. You can try to feed some ribbon streamers with a pipe cleaner around this bar, but I've tried to do it before, and it's just not that easy. It's kind of hard to do. I think I should try to figure out. There has to be an easier way. But again, so this is a method that's best just to use. Put a nice sign or maybe a bow, and maybe, you know, glue some flowers on, some embellishments. See, it's kind of easy to get out of control here with this. Mesh likes to have a life of its own sometimes. So as long as you have even amounts on both sides, you should be okay. Again, like I said. Boy, oh, Mimi's here. A bunch of people jumped on here. Mimi and Reba and Cheryl. We're getting back on track here after I had to take some time off. So I appreciate your patience and hanging with me. Now this is, I hate, see, sometimes you get these pieces that they're not necessarily a fray. They're like on the seamed edge of your mesh, and you can just cut those off. So just take your time. But I think I'm going to be using that ice cream sign that I got last year because it's also pink. Now I have too much on this side, so there. If this is a thicker mesh, this snowball mesh is pretty thick. If you have a thinner mesh, it'll definitely work, but you may just have to, you know, pull through more in each section. There. And again, if you find that you have too much in one section and not enough in another one, then you just kind of move it around a little bit. I still have this long piece here. Hold on. Let me pull this off. It's going to drive me crazy. Get these pieces on the seamed edge that come off. All right. So we have 2 more to do. I do anyway. I don't know where you guys are at. But it's not a race. And again, if you're not making your wreath with me right now, if you're on the unlimited plan, which everybody should, since I changed the rules here, no more paper class. Whether you attend live or not, if you're on the unlimited plan, you're going to get a copy of the video. So if you're not making your wreath with me now, you're going to get the video so you can make it whenever you have time. I know a lot of times, you know, I think I would prefer to do it on my own time. I'd rather, that way you can stop and start the video. And I'm just trying to fix this last piece here. Okay. Ideally, you should use 1 whole roll on the outside and not quite 1 whole roll on the inside, because the inside is smaller than the outside. Hope you can see me. I feel like my shadow is so this is starting to fold over here. That's what you don't want. You want it to be ruffled, not folded. I hope that makes sense when I say don't let it fold. It kind of like folds over on itself as you're ruffling it, and you don't really want that. It just doesn't look as nice when it's folded over. But again, when you get your second row on, you're going to see how it's all going to come together really nice. And you can't even see the bar either, which is nice. And this is kind of messed up over here, so it's bothering me. If anybody wants to talk, you know, feel free to unmute yourselves. I know I get to a point where I'm like talking to myself here. Don't be afraid to unmute yourself and ask a question or.
Okay, do not use thin mesh.
Why?
You can see
working?
the wires. I don't care how much you put in.
Even if you squish a lot in there, really? Well, Mimi, when you go around, here's the thing. You may be able to see the wire now when you're doing your first row, but when you do your second row, it's going to squish it together. So you know what I mean? Putting that second row of mesh in the middle is going to close that up. Trust me. Even though I'm using thicker mesh now and it helps to hide that bar, but again, I'm telling you, when you get that second row in, it squishes it all together. So you're not going to see the bars. Trust me. but try to put as much as you can in there too. You're going to have enough with the 2 rolls. And that's why I said that, because don't you usually buy your mesh from Michael's? Mimi, I know Michael's is thin.
I know. I'm changing.
Yeah, I never use Michael's. I always just order online. I love Craft Outlet's mesh. Joann's is nice too. Joann's actually, their mesh isn't bad. Right. See, I'm even messing with it a little bit too much because I know when I put that second row in, it does. It kind of squishes it all together, so it'll work. The first row you may struggle with, and you're going to think, this is not going to come out right. I'm doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Trust me. All right. Look at my phone for a second here. Okay. All right, last section here. Trying to see how much mesh I have left on this roll. I still have quite a bit of mesh on this roll. So maybe I won't use the full roll.
How much snow did you guys get up there?
Did somebody have a question? No? All right, here's my last section here.
Somebody was asking how much snow you guys got.
Oh, well, you know, I think when I was out shoveling it earlier, I think it was probably around a foot. But it's kind of slowed down. It's more kind of like a rain, sleety type mess now. I don't think we really got that much more accumulation. So you got a lot of snow though, Robin. Is Robin still here? Robin got a lot of snow in Wisconsin. All right. This mesh is annoying me. It's all twisted. Let me fix this. You want your mesh to be as flat as possible. Or it's going to be a pain to pull through. There's another one of these strands coming off. Uh-oh, I'm going to lose my battery. Why do I always forget to plug my battery in? Hold on. There we go. That did happen once. I forgot to plug my battery in. Screen went black. The thing of it is about Zoom meeting though, is if something happens on my end and I get kicked out, the meeting is still active. And I remember one time my battery did die or something happened. My internet went out, I don't remember. And everybody just kind of sat and chit-chatted, waited for me to come back. So the meeting does still stay active if I get kicked off for whatever reason, which is nice. So again, you can see it kind of puffs out there when you're going over that crossbar, but you can just kind of go underneath and just tuck it back in. Very easy. All right, where am I here? I hope this makes sense. It's really not that difficult. Again, you pull as much mesh through as you're comfortable with. If you want nice tight ruffles, then just add more mesh. If you want looser ruffles, then don't add as much. And again, if you have thinner mesh like Mimi, you're going to have to add more. But you're going to see, like I said, when you come around that second bar on the inside, it really starts to come together. Trying to see how much mesh I have left on this roll. I'd like to try to use the whole roll, but I don't think I'm going to need to. What I might do is add a little bit more to this first section that I started with. Let me see where I'm at here. Yeah, I'm going to push this over. This is the first section I started at, and I'm going to add a little bit more if you can see. And you can do that. If you feel like, again, you have too much in one and not enough in another, then just kind of move some stuff around. And you can't really see because I'm at the end of my roll here, and it's, let me hold it down with my phone or something. Because it's, when it starts to curl up, it's a pain. So get something to hold it down with. So I'm kind of jumping across to the section that I started in and adding just a little bit more because I feel like I need to. I'm going to stop and look at it and see. Now, the piece that you started with, you can see that, you know, if you've got some frays on that cut end, see how there's a few frays here, if you can really see that or not. Just kind of tuck that in. You don't have to worry about, you know, having a perfectly clean edge. Just, it's easy to hide your cut ends here. Just kind of tuck it in a little bit, that's all, so you can't really see it. Of course, you have these crazy things. All right. So I have a little bit left on the roll. If I wanted to go through and kind of move some stuff around to make all that fit, I could, but I'm not going to do that. I'm happy with how full it is right now on this first row. I'm just kind of going through to make sure that it's even, meaning you don't want, like here I have way too much pulled through on this side and it's not even on the other side, so I have to fix that. I want equal amounts on both sides. So just kind of even it out a little bit. I'm going to have to pull these off later. They're driving me crazy. There. You don't have to have perfection, but again, if you notice that it looks a little weird because you have too much pulled through on one side and on the other side, just fix it. That's all. Okay. So now I'm not going to cut it. If you didn't use your full roll for the outside, or if you needed more on the outside, just start your second roll. But since I have a little bit left on this roll, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take it right off the roll now, so I don't have to worry about it. And this is taped, it's not stapled. That's a little strange. I'm just going to cut it. I don't have to worry about the roll. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to jump across to this other bar, which is actually right next to the bar that we pulled through. So we pulled it around the second bar from the outside. Now we're going to go around the inside around this bar, which is the second bar from the inside. So we're going to be pulling it again up around, I'm going to get my fingers in there, up around this bar. Now it's going to be kind of tricky because mesh likes to stick to itself. So you're going to have to really kind of be patient when you're going around the inside. I'm just kind of moving my mesh over what little bit I have left on here. And I'm going to continue around, pulling it around this second bar here, okay? But again, you got to kind of take your time because it's going to want to stick to itself. You're going to be a little bit frustrated, so I'm just trying to be honest because it does stick to itself. But just take your time. I got to lay this down because it's Got that curly action going here. All right. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just doing the same thing I did on the outside. Trying to lay this flat. It's like all curled. Hold on a second here. There. That'll help. But this kind of takes a little bit of patience. You have to, don't rush it. Because the end result, you know what, I think I need to lay it the other way. I think that's why it's not, hold on a minute here. I gotta lay it this way. Throwing my phone all over the place. You want the curly side to be going up. You know how mesh kind of likes to curl. All right, maybe that'll be better. I feel like I should have used the rest of this roll on the outside. It started with a fresh roll, but hold on. And I usually do. I don't know why I have so much left over now. I usually don't have this much left over, but I apologize, guys. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go around the other way. Maybe that'll be easier. Once you get it going, yeah, I'm gonna do this way. Yeah, that'll work. There's no rhyme or reason with which way you go. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Let's put it that way. Okay. This is going to work better going this way for me. Just try as you're pulling it through not to pull out what you already have around this outside bar, because sometimes it'll do that. As you're pulling it through this inside bar, it's going to want to catch and pull out what you've already done. So just be careful not to let it do that. Double hand action going here. It seems like it's caught under here. I'm trying to. Because this mesh, it's so curly when you get to the end of the roll. That's probably the reason why this is giving me a hard time right here, but just be patient. Once I get that all pulled through and I can start on my new roll, it'll be a little bit easier. And then when you get done pulling everything through, then you can take some time and adjust your ruffles. And move my phone now. And of course, try not to wear a sweater or a shirt that mesh likes to grab, because that's always annoying too when you're trying to pull it off your clothing. All right, here's the last of this roll. Once I get this through, I think when I start my second roll, it'll be a little bit easier, but it won't be so curly. Okay. And again, if you've got these cut ends here, Once you get it all pulled through, I got the end of my roll here. Just kind of tuck that in so you don't see that cut end. Just kind of roll it in, tuck it in into one of the ruffles, and you won't be able to see it. You won't have to worry about those few little frays that might be sticking out. And I'm going to go in and just try to adjust this a little bit. You're not going to have to put as much per section on the inside because the inside circle is a little bit smaller. There. Oh, I just love these pieces that keep coming off. I already started to pull a thread out of my shirt here because it caught my shirt. This method might not be for everyone because, again, it can be a little bit challenging. The mesh wants to stick to itself, but if you have patience, it does come out looking very nice when you're done. There. That's one section on the inside. Now I can get my second roll, wherever that might be. Hi, Cheryl. I didn't see you pop on. I saw you were watching Julie for a little while. I didn't know Julie had a live tonight.
It was, she didn't announce it ahead of time, so it was just a play-by-minute type thing.
Was it like a new pedal method that she was doing or something?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I'll have to go back and watch it. All right. Now I'm going to start on my second roll. And I did one section already on the inside. So I'm going to go to my next section. And if you have a few frays here from that cut end, I just tuck them in. You just tuck them right in. You won't even see them. You can't even tell that that was the end of the roll there. So now hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for me because I don't have such a curly piece to work with. So again, this is the way you want your mesh to be laying. Susan, did you have a question? Or no?
No, well, yeah, I did, as a matter of fact. I forgot it. I'll be all right. It's beautiful like it is.
Mine's beautiful like it is? Is that what you said? Oh, thank you.
Do you have to do that second row?
You should. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, because you really can't see from your view, but see how you can kind of see the bar? Like if I left it the way it is, you can still see that bar.
Yeah, I see
So, yeah, you kind of want to do that.
Okay.
The middle one too.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. And again, it's a little more difficult doing the inside because the mesh kind of wants to stick to itself, but just be patient. Again, it's not a race.
I learned this method on using burlap and then also on shelf liner, and it was way easier to use that material to learn on and then go afterwards.
Because burlap doesn't stick to itself. That's true too.
Yeah.
If you've never done the pull through before, you may want to start with a roll of burlap. Shelf liner, honestly, I never liked the pull through for shelf liner. I always liked the kind that I did the cut squares. I don't know why. I just never liked the way my pull through shelf liner wreaths looked. They just never came out right. So I took my time and I did the cut squares one, which took forever, but we haven't done a shelf liner wreath in a while. I did so many of those when I first started making wreaths. Oh my goodness. You ever get somebody that friends you on Facebook and you have absolutely no idea who they are, and they want to talk to you, and I'm like, do I even know you? I mean, why are you messaging me? Am I the only one that bothers?
I've had that happen to me too.
Oh gosh. Or like
I get them too.
you like have a mutual friend. Okay, so I accepted this guy's friend request because we have a mutual friend. And all of a sudden he just like starts messaging me one to like chat. And I'm like, okay, well, do you need something? I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but so now he just says, you heard that sound pop up. He just messaged me. He's like, did I offend you? I'm like, well, if I stop talking to you, it means I don't want to talk to you. Sorry. Like, what do you want? Is that mean or no? I don't even know you. All right, let's see. So that's another section. So I just did 2 sections already on the inside. And these are driving me crazy. Where's my scissors? You might want to go ahead and pull these off of your mesh before you start. Not all of them do that, but most of them do. You just get this extra piece that wants to come off of your seamed edge. Right, so I've done 2 already. Now we're going to hop over to the 3rd.
I'm sorry, Christina, if you've already said where you got your mesh, could you repeat that, please?
I don't think I did say. I think I had this from last year. I'm pretty sure I came from Craft Outlet. This was in my stash from last year. So now this section here, I can tell, starting to pull this out. We have to, oops, hold on a second here. Whoops. All right. So I noticed that as I was pulling this section through, it started pulling out my outside section. So you got to be careful with that because, again, mesh likes to stick together. So just be careful that you're not pulling out what you already did. So now what do I say to this person? No, you didn't offend me, but I really don't want to talk to you. I mean, what do I say? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know who you are. Why are you talking to me? I hate being put in those weird, uncomfortable situations. I don't like that.
I got a birthday notice.
You got a what?
Yesterday. A birthday notice from somebody that I don't even know.
They messaged you or they posted on your page?
They posted it on my page.
Well, then they must be one of your friends. Because they can't post on your page unless they're on your friends list.
Christina, I don't know them from Adam's house.
Really? Then block them.
That's a good idea. That hadn't even crossed my mind.
You have no idea how many friend requests I get from people that I don't know. And I won't, I'll accept friend requests if they have a lot of mutual friends. Now, I get a lot of friend requests because of the groups, the Wreath groups. So, but some of them are just so weird, like weird guys from different countries. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. No.
I get those too, and then I'll go to their Facebook page to see who they are, and they got like 2 pictures on their whole Facebook page.
Right. Yep. Well, Cheryl, I still have to talk to you about what's been going on. I gotta call you, girl.
Do it.
I've got some exciting news. Some exciting news and some weird news, whatever. Okay, you can see how already from the second row it's starting to look fuller on this side than up here. Just a little more full, and that's what you want. And I don't know, Mimi, if you can tell if you're on your second row, but it does just start to squish together, I guess is the best way to put it.
I'm gonna throw it away.
Oh, Mimi. You got to stop buying that Michael's mesh then, honey. Michael's mesh is no good. I wish I'd lived closer. I could come over and, you know, your Valentine's wreath was gorgeous, though. Your little curls, that was so cute. I love that one. I got a big piece puffing out down here when I crossed over, so I'm going to tuck that in. I don't ever really use thin mesh, so, you know, I don't want to have to put myself through that. I've just had bad experiences every single time I've tried to use Michael's mesh, so I just don't buy it anymore. Plus, their 10-inch mesh isn't even 10 inches. I think it's 12 inches, which makes absolutely no sense to me. They're the only ones that don't have 10-inch mesh. You have 10-inch mesh, you have 6-inch mesh, you have 10-inch mesh, and you have 21-inch mesh. Nobody has 12-inch mesh. Michael's does. Somebody's chatting me. Hold on a second here. I gotta finish my ruffle, and then I'll see what this says. Boy, my hair is just sticking up all over the place. Please send me a link for this. Of course, Mary. Mary, you'll get the link. You're on the unlimited plan, so everybody gets a copy of the video. No worries. I can't close this box. Okay. Again, it can be frustrating, this method, for some people. I mean, if you've never done it with the 10-inch mesh before, because it's longer and mesh does like to stick to itself. So like Cheryl said, if you want to practice doing this with burlap first, because burlap doesn't stick together, just to kind of get used to how, you know, the pulling and the scrunching, that might be a good place for you to start. I mean, I've done many of these, and I still get a little bit frustrated with how it, you're welcome, Mary, with how it sticks together. All right, I'm hopping over to the next section here. Hopping over. I wish I could get you guys all together in the same room, and then I could kind of walk around and help anybody that needs to be helped. It'd be great if we all lived closer together. We could do that. You just have to take your time. Don't rush it. You rush this and it's gonna just frustrate you. Especially this inside bar, like I said. If you wanted to start on the inside, I suppose you could. I usually just do the outside first. I do that with all my wreaths, actually, even when I'm doing like a regular ruffle wreath with pipe cleaners. So again, you just kind of have to eyeball it as far as how much you put in each section. There's no right or wrong answer. It just all depends on how much you want and how you think it looks. Now this one looks a little weird to me and it's bothering me. You have to kind of go in there and make sure it's not folded together or over itself. That's why you want it to, as you're pulling it through, you want to scrunch it over. Because if you don't, it does end up folding over itself, and then it looks weird. There's really no other way I can explain it other than that. And of course, there's going to come a time where you're just going to have to like walk away. It's never going to be perfect. You don't really want perfection. I can't tell you how many times I've had to force myself to walk away from a wreath because you could drive yourself crazy trying to get it perfect. There. I love the snowball mesh. It actually is a good idea to use a colorful mesh with this, like a striped mesh, or like I said, I have a snowball, the one I showed you that I made last year. It was a jute mesh. Now, when I say jute mesh, I'll show you this again. Whenever I refer to jute mesh, jute is just mesh with burlap running through it. That's the jute right there. You can see the burlap in there. And then, of course, there's a nice colorful metallic stripe in there. I wish I could find that again. But the reason why it's better to use something with like a stripe or a pattern in it is because you're not going to be adding a bunch of ribbon. You can add a bow, you can add embellishments, or put a little bunny in there or whatever. That's about as far as I got with this one. But because the mesh already has a design in it or a stripe, it just adds to the look of it as opposed to just having a plain mesh. So that's another little tip. You can use a plain mesh if you want, but these wreaths just look a little bit better with, you know, a design in the mesh. All right, now I'm gonna go. How many?
Christina, didn't we do this last year with the silk ribbon?
Yep. Yep, we got that 9-inch ribbon. Yep, this is the same exact thing. Yep. Somebody's texting me here. Let's see. What are we going to do? Oh yeah, we're going to do the casino. I'm still looking into that weekend at the casino to see if we can do a get together there. I really haven't had a chance to look into that because my dog passed away and other stuff was going on. So definitely going to look into that. I think I'm on my last section on the inside here. So on the home stretch. I mean, I'm sure this will look pretty with a plain colored mesh, but it just looks nicer with a pattern or a stripe or something. Because you're not going to be covering it up with a bunch of ribbon. So, and you know, I don't like to do that anyway. Even when I'm doing a regular ruffle wreath or a poof wreath, I don't like to put so much ribbon in that you can't see the mesh. I mean, why even bother using a really pretty mesh if you're just going to cover it all up with ribbons and bows? And I know a lot of people like a lot of bows and they like a lot of ribbon, but you know, I'm just not one of those people. Everybody has their own style and they have their own things they like and they don't like, and it's getting kind of tight in here. Sorry for my head. All right, let's see where we're at here. What's this thing here? What is this? I got a big weird poof here coming out of nowhere. I'm just gonna tuck that in. All right, I gotta see where I'm at here. That looks pretty nice though.
That's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, my dear. So what I'm basically doing right now.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Huh?
I said thank you, and I said what I'm basically doing right now is I just want to make sure that I'm satisfied with how much I have in each section, because before you cut your mesh off, now's the time to kind of go around, make sure that you're satisfied with how much you have. So we didn't even use a full 2 rolls. I mean, if you had a bigger wreath form, you probably would use more mesh, or if you had thinner mesh. I don't really want to cut this off until I'm satisfied with how much I have on here. And I think I'm pretty satisfied, actually. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. So you can see what I mean when I added this second row. It just kind of like squished everything together. So I think I'm going to cut this off. I think I'm happy with that. And again, if you have your cut ends, like I have my cut piece here from the end of my row, I'm just going to tuck it in so you can't see it. Look at that, it's gone. No frays, except for the little bit of a fray that it really isn't even a fray when you get those pieces that come off of your seamed ends, and these are your seamed ends here. Sometimes you'll notice when you're cutting your mesh that you get these pieces, and you can just pull those right off. They're not gonna continue to fray if you pull those pieces off, because it's seamed.
Christina,
Yeah?
I have to make a confession.
What? Is this good or bad? I'm scared.
Every time I get to the little bar, I cut it. I can't take it.
That's okay, because you get that annoying poof. I know. Trust me, I know. That's okay. Mimi, whatever works for you, honey, it's fine. You know, everybody is going to have their own way of doing things.
I thought I was the only one who was getting a poof at the
No,
bar.
I'm getting them too, see? But you're not going to really see it unless you turn your wreath over. So I'm just going to, I cut this piece off, and I'm just kind of tucking it around now. I cut the end of my mesh. Let me go around and fix this now. Where is it? There it is. Just pulling through the rest of it that I cut. And don't worry about these frays on that cut piece showing, because you just, look at that, they're gone. You just tuck it right in there. Nobody's going to see it. And you're not going to have to worry about it continuing to fray if you don't mess with it. So I cut my end off. I tucked it in. Look at that, it's gone. I love that. Now, just kind of go around. You can curl your pieces around. If you don't like the way that one piece is curled, you can turn it this way. You can fix it and do this. Or maybe I want a little more of a ruffle here. You can kind of twist it. This is where the fact that your mesh sticks together is nice. This is where it can benefit you. Because if you want to fix one of your ruffles and tuck it in, and it kind of sticks to itself, which you know already. So here I'm going to do this because I don't like the way that looks there. This is where my OCD comes in. But for the most part, I'm happy with how that came out. Who's chatting me now here? I have to stop and look. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm happy with that. I'll probably hang it on my wall, and I'll mess with it a little bit more. But I really like this method. It's a little time consuming. It can drive you a little bit crazy when it sticks together and you get the little lumps. But again, you're only going to see these lumps over your crossbars when you turn it over. And if you want to cut it like Mimi did, go ahead. You can tuck your cut ends in. You're not going to see them, instead of going over that bar and being annoyed because it's poofing out a little bit. It's not going to come out. Like if you hang it on your wall, as long as you don't mess with it, your ruffles are not going to come out. They're there. But isn't that so pretty? Now all I'm going to do with this, since I really wasn't sure what sign I was going to use, I have some mesh left here too. So, but you know what? Don't get rid of that, because there's things. Look at that! It's taking my shirt here. There's things that you can do with this leftover mesh. Trust me. So save that. Now, my wreath is not going to be done because, like I said, I really wasn't planning. I had no idea what I was going to use for embellishments or a sign until like right before class. I didn't really want to make an Easter wreath because we have a lot of Easter wreaths planned. Let me cut this piece off here. So again, if you want to do a bow, I think that might be my next challenge. I'm going to see if there's an easier way we can attach ribbon streamers to this, because I'm thinking, hold on a second here. I have a bunch of ribbon here. I just want to see something. I have all this leftover ribbon. Because what I was trying to explain to you guys, look at all this ribbon I have. I don't throw anything away. I save everything. I could have used this on my what have you, my Valentine's wreath. I didn't know I had this. So typically when you make your ribbon streamers, this is just an example. Usually I have a 1.5 and I have a 2.5, but here's 2 1.5. Okay. You have your little ribbon bundle here, but you need a pipe cleaner to put it in. You don't have a pipe cleaner anywhere here. So what you'd have to do is take your pipe cleaner and wrap it around, and you'd have to sort of try to feed it around that wire. What you probably could do, because you have your crossbar here, you could probably go up underneath your crossbar with a pipe cleaner like this. Let me show you. Where are my pipe cleaners? This is just if you wanted to add ribbon. You don't have to add. You don't have to add ribbon to these, but if you wanted to, you could take your pipe cleaner, and this is how it gets a little bit challenging. You'd have to kind of go down underneath and feed it through that crossbar and up and around, which is why I'm trying to tell you it's a pain, but it can be done. Reach down there.
Christina?
Yeah?
Would a zip tie work better?
No. I don't think so. Not for ribbon.
Okay.
So if you want to do this, I'm not going to do this. I don't ever add ribbon to these kind of wreaths just because it's a pain. But I was able to get a pipe cleaner around that crossbar. Okay? And then you can go ahead. But you wouldn't want to go all the way down to the bottom of your pipe cleaner, because then your ribbon's going to be hidden. I probably shouldn't have used this pink. I probably should have used something that's going to stand out a little bit more. I don't really have any ribbon that's going to match this mesh. Like I have this Easter egg ribbon. And you could just do it this way. So it is possible to add ribbon. It just would take a little bit more effort, that's all. Whoops. Just twist it in like I normally do. You've seen me add ribbon to my wreaths. I normally don't have 2 of the same types of ribbon. I usually do 2 different types, but. And then you can cut off your extra pipe cleaner here. And you can still do the little bow tie like we do if you've seen me do. So there, I added some ribbon. But I don't really like how it looks with ribbon in these type of wreaths. I don't know, that's just me. but I showed you that it is possible. Let's get that out of here. Because now look what I did to my ruffle. It's all weird and squished now. Now I have to fix it. Save your ribbon for your regular ruffle wreaths, unless you really want to add it. That would be how you would do it. You'd have to actually add a pipe cleaner down in there and mess up your ruffle. Your perfect ruffle that you had. But what I'm just going to do, since I do have a sign that I want to use, my ice cream sign, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my sign on, and then I'm going to kind of be on the lookout for some cute little embellishments. Maybe I'll get some little ice cream cones, or there's a lot of colors in this sign. Like, that's normally how you choose your ribbon and your embellishments, if you didn't know that already. You kind of go with the colors that are in the sign. But I wouldn't really want to do anything too crazy, again, because my mesh is so colorful. I could just do that. Wouldn't that be cute for like an ice cream shop? I think that would be really cute. But I'm going to keep my eyes out for some embellishments that I could add to this over the summer. And for now, I'm just going to put my sign on, I think. And I'm going to call it a day. But if you want to get little flowers for yours, like Pam's going to get little flowers, you can super glue or hot glue some little flowers on. Any other little embellishments, if you make an Easter wreath, you can get those cute little Easter eggs, which I did pick up some from Michael's the other day, some little pastel sparkly ones. You can glue those around. Whatever. You guys have seen me do my signs a million times, but we're going to show you again. I like the little cable tie mounts that you get near the zip ties. You can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart has them. They have little holes. Whoops. Put a little hole in the middle there. You can put your pipe cleaner through. They're self-adhesive. If you're going to be hanging it outside or in extreme heat, I add a little bit of extra super glue. It's sticky, but sometimes these still come off, especially if you have a heavier sign. So it doesn't hurt to put a little extra, not hot glue, super glue. Hi, Paulina. I didn't see you pop on. So they just stick right to the back of your sign. What's up, girl?
Oh, not much. I just got in from work, so I was like, oh, let me jump in here. Maybe
I don't think I've ever seen you in a class.
I'm always working. I'm a workaholic.
I know you are. So you're going to get the video. I know you're late, but that's okay. So you're just going to stick your pipe cleaner in. Not all the way through. See how it goes right through? Just twist it around. I love putting my signs on this way. If you can't find them at your local Walmart, or I know Home Depot and Lowe's has them, but they're kind of expensive there. I get mine online. I think I go on Amazon. I get like a pack of 100 for, I don't know, $5 or whatever. Just position it where you want it. Now, again, it might be a little bit challenging to do this part because, again, our mesh is pulled up all the way around our bars. So you kind of just have to. Usually I try to find where the crossbar is. I'm going to mess up my ruffles again here. But you got to get the sign on. This is where it would help because Mimi said she cut her mesh. I'm just going to go right down. Usually I go all the way through, but because you kind of have to find your bar. You don't want the pipe cleaner to show either, so you kind of have to tuck it around your ruffle. And I'm just going to twist it around. So instead of going all the way through, usually I go all the way through to the back and I pull it through that way. I'm not going to be able to do that because it's covered with mesh. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around the bar a couple of times. You don't want it too tight, because then your mesh is going to get squished. Just loosen it up a little bit. I'm just going to twist it right around a couple of times. It's not a very heavy sign. I think this sign came from Diamond Dust Designs. I love their signs because they put these cute little bows on the top. DiamondDustDesigns.com. This is a little bit too tight. I don't want to squish my mesh here. So again, normally when I have a wreath that's not the pull through, I can go right down through with my sign, or my pipe cleaner that's attached to my sign, but I can't do it this time. So you kind of just have to wrap it around a couple of times. You can cut off the excess pipe cleaner. But I don't want to cut that off until I'm sure it's on there securely. And fix your ruffles a little bit. Again, I'm just kind of finding the bar and wrapping it around a couple of times around itself so it doesn't slide or fall. And then I'm going to go ahead when I'm satisfied with it and cut off that extra piece of pipe cleaner. Because you know, you get your sign all perfect and you stand it up and it slides down and you want to scream. But I don't think that's going to slide. I think that's pretty secure. This sign's a little bit heavier than your normal sign. Kind of pull your mesh up a little bit. Okay, you don't have to use a sign. You want to stick a little bunny rabbit in the middle for Easter or whatever theme you're working with. I'm going to show you guys this cute little thing I got. Joanne's had all these unpainted little birdhouse thingies, little unfinished. Isn't that cute? I mean, you can paint it, but I kind of like the way it looks unfinished like that. Isn't that cute?
That's gorgeous.
A little birdhouse thingy, I guess.
Love it.
I'm not hanging it outside. I'm just going to sit it on my shelf, I think. But I like the look of the unfinished wood that they have, and they had a bunch of different ones. I think you only paid like $4. It was 40% off. It was $10.99 regular price. It says paint me.
Oh my gosh.
It says paint me, but I'm not going to paint it. Isn't that just so pretty?
Yes.
I love that.
I do.
You can even put that in a wreath. Like I was going to say, if I wanted to maybe just stick that in the middle of my wreath, that would be pretty too. But I've got my sign, and I'm done with it for now.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you, my dear.
Welcome.
Okay. That's really pretty.
Thank you. I want to see your coral mesh when you're done. And what are you putting on yours? What are you making your theme, Pam? What's yours going to be? I don't think she heard me. Pammy?
I think I'm going to take it to Michael's with me on Thursday and get some floral.
Yeah, there you go. I might even stick some, see, I don't know if I'm going to put florals in mine because mine's going to be like an ice cream theme. I might try to find some little ice cream cones or something. But that's all I've got for now, ladies. But you can even see, I don't even really have to do anything else with it because the mesh is just so pretty with the snowball. But that's it. What time is it? It's only 9:30. Mine's You know, it's nice to make something simple once in a while with not a lot of bells and whistles. I can't even talk. Does anybody have any questions at all? Or I know we lost a couple of people. Getting kind of late.
I'm working on my inside rim.
That's the hardest part. I'm like all scratched up now from my rash finally healed, Pammy, and I'm not scratching. Oh my
It takes a while. I told you.
God, it was terrible. I felt like I had a bad sunburn. It was awful.
Nope.
Oh. But it didn't hit me. And what we're talking about, you guys, is I had an infection in my tooth that became an abscess, and I was on antibiotics, and then I was allergic to the antibiotics they gave me, and I broke out in a rash like 5 days after I started taking it. It was over my chest, it was on my back, it was on my arm. It was terrible. Finally, I'm better, and I'm making wreaths, so nothing wrong with that. All right, you guys, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, if you want to practice with burlap and not 10-inch mesh, that might be a good idea if you've never done the pull through. But you can see if you take your time, it's really, you know, you can't mess this up. You can't. I mean, you may take you a couple of tries, you might have to pull it apart and put it back together again. Believe me, we've all been there. We've all done that. I mean, I've taken apart so many wreaths and put them back together again that, you know, it's fine. It's a learning process. But here's my simple little ice cream wreath. I'm glad I was able to use this sign. And that's it. You guys have a wonderful night. And I will see you again, I think next class is Thursday. So, all right, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Good
Night.
Good night. Love you guys. Bye.
Christine.
Good night. Love you.